At one time many years ago, German Jews were sought after to come to Florida and settle here, with Pensacola and Milton as one of their first targets. In fact, a man by the name of Julius Potsdamer was hired to return to Germany for the sole purpose of soliciting Jewish immigrants to sail for Florida as late as 1891. However, other Jewish families had already made the trip as early as 1869, when Marx Danheiser and his wife Jeanette Lieb came to Pensacola. However, Milton recorded Gundersheimer Forcheimer arriving in 1860, with Joseph Gundersheimer making the voyage to Santa Rosa County in the 1850s, both much earlier than Danheiser. And like many of the new immigrants did, Joseph and Gerson both opened up dry goods stores and became a successful businessman trading with the local lumber mills. Joseph would marry in 1860 to Fanny Meyer, the daughter of Isaac and Amelia Meyer from Bavaria, Germany. The Meyers were then living in Manhattan, New York, where Fanny's father was also dealing in dry goods as well. Not long after they married, the nation was thrust into a bloody civil war. Joseph chose not to join the conflict, but sold his much-needed goods to the Confederate forces. Unfortunately for him, Confederate money was worthless during and after the war. After the war, Gerson married Bertha Goldstucker in Milton before he and his family moved to Pensacola. In 1879, tragedy struck when Joseph died at sea. No information is available, but I'm sure the family knows the circumstances of Joseph's demise. In Pensacola, a gravestone was erected in the Temple Bethel Cemetery in honor of his passing. Following his death, Fanny moved her family to Pensacola, where other family members were now living. By 1880, Fanny was living in New Orleans, but in 1898, she had already relocated to Mobile, Alabama with her children, all of which were employed and supporting their mother. 2 years later, she was living back in Manhattan with her daughter Emma and her son-in-law Isaac Barnett. Ironically, he was in the dry goods business as well. The young couple had married in New Orleans in 1886. In 1903, Fanny was back at her home at 110 West Chase Street, where she would pass away on August 22. Her remains were carried to St. Michael's Cemetery, where today she is surrounded by 4 of her children and several grandchildren. As a note of notoriety, Fanny's daughter Jeanette married Jacob Ralph Barker with a son, Bernard Leon Barker, born from this union. But as the story goes, Jeanette's grandson Bernard Jr. became part of the Watergate burglary attempt in 1972 that brought about the downfall of President Richard Nixon. Bernard was sentenced in Pensacola to federal prison before passing away in 2009.